What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Your Requests, the segment on my channel where you guys recommend movies for me to check out. And if you can't tell, I've really been enjoying this. I've done several episodes of this so far, and that's because you guys keep flooding me with really fantastic requests. So, like I've said before, if you have a movie that you'd like for me to check out, leave it down below in the comments. If it's something that I've reviewed recently or within the past couple of years, I will direct you to that review. But if it's something I haven't seen in a while, I'm more than happy to revisit it and do another review for it. And this movie in particular today, I was very excited to watch because this is directed by Kelly Reichardt, who over the years has become one of my favorite filmmakers. I really love everything that Kelly does with her work. She is so much about capturing the raw essence of the human experience in a way that doesn't feel Hollywood goofy. Like, it feels like real life and people that are just experiencing these situations. One of my favorite films she's ever made is a movie called Old Joy that just very much moved me a lot. I adored it and I talk about it a lot, recommend it to people quite often. And this one in particular, I saw it was about a woman and her dog. I have 3 dogs. My dogs are my whole world, so I had a feeling that this movie was going to completely and totally destroy me. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is Wendy and Lucy. Wendy and Lucy is directed by Kelly Reichardt. A near penniless drifter's journey to Alaska in search of work is interrupted when she loses her dog while attempting to shoplift food for it. So I was really excited to watch this movie. Like I said, I'm a huge Kelly Reichardt fan, so I was looking forward to seeing what this movie had to offer, and I loved this movie, but oh my god, it destroyed my soul in virtually every way. It was kind of like sticking a knife in you and just twisting it over and over and over again. And that's what Kelly does best, is that she takes these very simple stories, but she manages to talk so much more about the human experience in a way that just feels very visceral. And real and raw. And I think a lot of the subject matter that this is looking at is very poignant to the current times that we live in. And so I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So the plot description, very simple. We're introduced to Wendy, played by Michelle Williams, who lives in a car with her dog Lucy, and she is traveling across the United States to try to get, I think, up into Washington so that she can try to find a way into Alaska. And so she's traveling up there with her dog Lucy. She clearly loves her dog. They're spending time out together on walks, playing together. And while she's driving through this town one day, her car breaks down and she parks in a Walgreens parking lot. And the security guard comes out and says, "Hey, you can't park your car there." But he is a nicer old man, ends up helping her get the car on to the side of the road. And she's like, "Is there a repair shop open?" He directs her across the street, but the repair shop isn't open, even though it says it's supposed to be. And so she decides, well, I'll go get myself some food. She ends up picking up cans, trying to recycle them to make some money. But unfortunately, the line's super long and the people there tell her she's not going to make a lot off the cans that she collects. So then she goes to a gas station to clean herself up in a bathroom. And eventually she notices that she's almost out of dog food in her trunk and she doesn't have a whole lot of money. She's worried that she's not going to be able to pay for the car repair. So she decides to go into a grocery store and steal some dog food for her dog. She goes in there, puts some of it in her bag, and one of the young teenage store associates catches her and calls the police and makes her go to jail. And while she's in jail getting processed and they eventually let her out, someone takes her dog. And the entirety of the film is Wendy trying to find Lucy so that she can continue her journey into Alaska. So like I said, I thought this movie was absolutely beautiful, and it's also incredibly poignant when it comes to the society we live in right now. For starters, I want to talk about Michelle Williams' incredible performance. She has worked with Kelly Reichardt multiple times, and for good reason. The two of them have very fantastic chemistry. What I love so much about Michelle Williams' performance in this, there is a lot of moments of quiet. And I think the quiet in this moment speaks volumes. When you see her character react to a specific situation and just kind of see the defeat in her face, I think because of her amazing performance and her reaction, it just really hits all that much harder because of the amazing performer that Michelle Williams is. There are a couple moments in particular that'll be stuck in my brain for a while. One in particular, when she decides to go sleep out in the middle of the woods and something happens in the middle of the night, just really kind of shook me to my core. One of those scenes that you'll just never really forget from a movie. And I like that her character seemingly has this just complete and total confidence that she can get from point A to point B, despite the fact that there's so much set up against her. As per Kelly Reichardt's usual, it's beautifully shot. She manages to capture these areas of the United States of America in a way that just kind of bleeds how the community feels. You can just see it through the landscape shots, what it's capturing, whether it's like decaying buildings or certain things on the ground, or the way the camera moves through specific shots. You can just feel the essence of wherever one of Kelly's films is taking place. And that's what I loved so much about this movie is, aside from the really great performances, there's also so much life and personality brought into every single frame. And I think that's really important for a director who's trying to use her work to speak volumes on so many different important topics. And what I like so much about this movie in particular is, when you look at this, it's never 100% saying that her character is completely and totally homeless, but she's living out of her car. She doesn't really have an address. And I think that that really kind of speaks volumes to the homelessness crisis in the United States of America, and how our government and a lot of people just don't care about homeless people in general, and just sort of try to strip them of their humanity and just act like they're animals, and that they're not deserving of shelter or food or a place to live. And I think Kelly captures that through so many quietly beautiful moments in this, and also some moments of just expositional dialogue that just really hit the nail on the head. I thought one of the most powerful scenes in the movie was when she went to the animal shelter and she was like, "I'm missing my dog, I need to find it." She's filling out this paperwork, and she doesn't have a place to put an address, and she doesn't have a place to put in a phone number, and how like all of this is set up against her solely because of those two things, and that she doesn't have that money to get to that place. And then one of the most important scenes is, like, I feel like that teenage grocery store associate calling out Wendy for stealing that dog food for her dog. And just like, corporations don't care about you. And obviously it's never shown like what the grocery store is, and even the grocery store owner doesn't seem to like care as much as the kid does about it. And that just kind of shows the younger generation being indoctrinated into this ideology of like, the only way you're a successful human being is if you in this moment can go into the grocery, buy whatever you want, pay for all of these things. But that's not how life works for every individual. That's not how people operate. Like, life experience is different for each and every human being. And I just thought there was so much incredible, poignant dialogue being had by so many quiet moments in this movie. And there's one in particular where Wendy is talking to the security guard that works outside the Walgreens about just like, if you don't have an address, you can't get a job. And if you don't already have a job, you'll never get another job because you don't have any experience. And just really how messed up the entire system is towards human beings in the United States of America. And that's so very true, where like, you even have people that go for 4-year college degrees that it's like, well, did you internship? Did you do this? We won't take you at this job if you haven't done all of that. And I just think that it's so relevant that like, in a society that supposedly provides you this dream, the dream is so unachievable for so many people because the system is set up and rigged against you, unfortunately. And I loved that this movie, for being an hour and 20 minutes, was able to cover that wide array of subject matter, and then just the love of a human being for their animal. I think there's nothing more palpable and real than the love that a human being has for an animal. And like, I love dogs with everything in me. Like, my dogs, I have 3 dogs, they're my entire world. And I think that it's so important that like, when we look at animals, animals are the embodiment of everything that I wish human beings could be, which is, there's this pure, unadulterated love that your animals have for you, solely for you existing. There's no judgment there. There's no care for like what your background is, any of that. Like, there's no prejudice. Like, animals' love is the most pure, whole, and wonderful thing in the world. And I just think that the way that it shows Lucy loves Wendy despite all of those things, despite her struggles and the issues, and she can see that like, the only thing that's there is the love between these two people. And the last scene of this movie shredded my heart into 1,000 pieces. I thought that it was so beautiful, but also so realistic. And it's what makes Kelly Reichardt such a special director. And I really love her work. I want to watch more of her work. I think this is the 4th movie of hers that I've seen, so I still have some more in her catalog to check mark off. But I really appreciate the recommendation for this film. I absolutely adored it, and I would highly recommend it if any of this sounds interesting to you. So have you seen Wendy and Lucy? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely incredible. I loved everything about it, and I already can't wait to rewatch it. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.